Welcome back, guys, to yet another episode in the WoW Token Challenge. We are making great progress, and this episode will go over a couple of the things, as per usual, that we're doing to make our gold. Now, before we get into it, we are, of course, doing a giveaway of 2 months of game time. Now, if you want to join in to that giveaway, all you have to do is like the video. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, type a comment down below about something you're currently enjoying in Warcraft, or maybe something about the progress of a similar challenge if you're doing the one that we have currently, or if you're doing something else. I'd love to talk about it. It's pretty much what we do for every single episode. And yeah, again, it's great fun every episode to see all the comments talking about all sorts of things that you guys are doing. And it's also sometimes it sparks ideas for myself to use in the challenge. But should we get straight into it? One thing that I got yesterday was a Blingtron 6000 gift package. Now, this obviously is something that you get off of Blingtron if he is currently spawned in the city. Now, in all my time doing this, I've seen him a couple of times, but I thought, hey, I can't make him, but if somebody else puts him, out somewhere to do the quest, I feel like it's only fair if we do it too. Considering we can only get this once a day, I don't think it's like that bad. We don't get much of an advantage, even if we get lucky on some of the drops. Now, some of the actual drops that you can get, there is Lil Bling, which is the pet. And I'll go ahead and show you guys real quick, just so you can see how you type it. Oh, if we just do this, it should show up. There you go. 1,500 gold value currently on Terran Mill, which is not insane, but I wouldn't mind getting something like that. The other thing that we can get is we can get a couple of pieces of Fellhide, which is a couple hundred gold. Wouldn't mind that either. We can also get a Chaos Blaster, which is actually, it's bind on pickup. I don't actually know if these scale, so that's a interesting question. Now, other materials that seem to be on the loot table would be slices of bacon, which, not a big deal. There's also infernal brimstones. We can get a couple of these. Also, again, not that big of a deal. There's also Fellwort, which is about the same value as something like Fellhide, so there's that. But it's not like that insane. And then there's a couple other greens that are also bind on pickup. But besides that, it's a lot of random trash that you can get out of it. So the best possible thing that we can get is the pet, Lil Bling, or a couple of the decent, what do you call them, Legion materials, because that is kind of where we want to be. And we did not get any of them. However, some of these trash items actually do have a little bit of value. You can see it's 35 gold. So we take those, and in future days, I will probably most likely be doing Blingtrons if I see them around. And then I'll just record whatever loot that we get from it. But I feel like that's a reasonable thing, because we can't make it ourselves, and it's only a daily quest. And, it's a little extra RNG in the zone. Something we did in the last episode is we went over the farming process of Ragefire Chasm. Now, with Ragefire Chasm, we also, in the waiting time for, getting the opportunity to do another 10 runs, because we complete about 10 of them in 40 minutes, give or take. That means we have 20 minutes of figuring out something else to do before the dungeons actually start resetting, so we can run it again. Now, what I've been spending my time on has usually been gathering when we wait in that period. Most of the time, I also just have the opportunity to clean out my inventory, do a little bit of crafting, and do some more disenchanting, because tailoring and enchanting makes a great combo, especially with Ragefire Chasm, where we farm the linen cloth. But every once in a while, I'll take a break from Ragefire Chasm, and then we go out into the open world. Now, we do kill the rares and a couple of mobs, just because there's a lot of stuff that can drop from here. A lot of pretty decent greens and some white and grays that we want on the auction house. Now, we do have a lot of this stuff, but we have sold some of it. So being able to get a little bit more of it is absolutely something that we would want. So I'm going to record a little bit of this gathering session so you guys can see the rotation. I have talked about it in previous episodes, but it's mostly been talked about, and I kind of just showed you what the route was. Now I'll show you guys what it looks like when we actually pick up the herbs and the ore and do a little bit of a speed run, kind of similar to what we did in the last episode. But I hope this makes sense for you guys, and this is also just because you can use it as a reference if you want to do something similar, but also just to show you guys what the farming process looks like. As you can see, that's a little bit of the farming rotation. I've made a couple of laps here, as you saw in the sped up version of my recording, and we haven't, you know, gotten any crazy amounts, but it's about a fourth of 1 hour, and in that time you can actually see the amount of materials that we've got. So if you times this by about 4, then that's what we get. So we get usually around 400 copper ore, and then about 100 of the herbs, each of them. Now obviously, depending on the hour and how fast we are and whether or not we spend a lot of time on killing mobs instead, that changes a little bit. But this is what we spend our time on alongside the Ragefire chasm runs and tailoring and enchanting. And those are pretty much the only things that I'm doing at the moment, because those seem to be most worth our time. And that also, you know, besides that, we have a couple of very small things that we do, like the cooking dailies, but this is mostly what we're doing. And then every single time we get some new items, we obviously fill them up on the auction house. We haven't gotten any items that we don't already have on the auction house so far in this particular farming session, but there's a possibility that that happens further on. But hopefully this makes sense, and if there's anything else that you guys want me to show or you guys want to see, make sure you let me know down in the comments below. So we just gotta put in the work and work on the grind, and yeah, let me know again what you think, or if there's anything else that you might want to see. We're at the point where we are going to go over the slash blade and look a little bit at what we have gotten in sales. Now, the slash blade currently looks at 4 days total. So we have spent quite a lot of time on this character, and at this current time we are at 110,519 gold. Now, in our mailbox we have, boom, 28,459. Pretty decent amount. There's a couple of interesting things in here, and we'll go over them real quick. Now, you see, again, we have some gateway control shards, and I actually didn't double check this, but somebody did take this down to 100 gold, and I didn't notice when I was posting it. So one of them sold for a loss, and I actually am not really sure if the price went back up again. Because I just remembered it. Okay, well it did, so it's back up to 200, so we can start restocking them. But it is a little unfortunate that that's the way that it's put together. Some people taking them down below what I can buy them for from a vendor at least. But we still take the profit from 135 gold up to that point. Again, you can see that we also have some materials here, some coppers, some herbs as well, and then we have we have a cracked buckler. This is a gray piece of mog, a shield, and then we also have chargers bindings here for 2,850 gold. This is an awesome one, and those two together, I mean, they count for like an hour, maybe even an hour and a half if we're being nice. So that's a really nice sale. We're really happy about that one. And then you can see we have some more materials, obviously enchanting materials, and then some more herbs. We did get a couple of, you can see here, large bore blunderbuss, and then the heavy recurve bow, embroidered boots. These are all vendor transmog that we've been able to buy straight off vendors here in org, so that's pretty nice. Other than that, you can see that we have, you know, some more smaller pieces, and then we have another gateway control shard, some more materials, mostly materials outside of those like couple pretty good ones. Again, we have some greater eternal essences. We've been spending the vast majority of our time just farming Ragefire Chasm, but you can see that we also did a good amount of gathering, swapped it out. Since the last episode, we spent a lot of time on both. So it's pretty good. We haven't sold that much transmog, as you can see, which is why I'm doing that much material farming, because otherwise the progress that we make on this challenge is quite limited. But still, 28,459 gold is pretty good. It's a very similar number to some of the previous episodes of how much we progress. Obviously, the way that I'm putting these out is it's about 2 days in between. So we are at 138,979 gold. Pretty good. I want to say a pretty good amount of progress was made. We still have quite a far way to go. We're looking at a WoW token that has actually a pretty high value of 362k at the moment. But my plan is, for the future episodes, if I find anything that has some interesting content or something fun that I want to talk about, or something fun that drops, something interesting, I'll go over that. But otherwise, the episodes will probably, unfortunately, be a little shorter, unless you guys don't mind me just showing a couple of the rotations for Ragefire Chasm and Gathering, because that's mostly what we're doing. Now, I want to try as hard as possible to finish up Durotar so we can move on to another zone, because in those zones we have the opportunity to actually figure out new farming routes, figure out the different transmog, the pets, whatever it is that the zone has to offer. So I'm going to do my best, my absolute best, to get as far as possible, and hopefully in the next couple of episodes you'll see even more progress than we have right now. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. It's been really fun making this challenge, and I shall see you on the next one.